December 2015, PSG Chamber organized an event, Pharma Med 2015. The inaugural of this event started with the lighting of the traditional lamp.
Our conference, which is the fourth in its series, called Pharma Med 2015, with the thought of affordability, accessibility, and acceptability. We would like to take a global perspective, which means the global as well as the local perspective, domestic perspective, of how this important sector can prosper. Because this happens to be one sector which actually supplies the most important and critical components for the health of the country. So it is very important for us to seriously deliberate and take directions from the ministry as to where and how we can take this sector. May I now request Mr. Anil Khaitan, Vice President, PhD Chamber, to kindly give his formal welcome address.
First of all, on behalf of PhD, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. About PhD, I'll just give you a brief idea. This is a 110-year-old chamber, and we basically play an advocacy role, and we try to assist the government as a policy change agent to make the government aware as to what's happening at the ground level. So accordingly, policies are made which are reflected on the ground level. And PhD also has collaboration with 60 international chambers. So we also work internationally, and our total membership base is about 48,000. And our focus area of PhD is basically the industrial development, health, education, skill development, housing, infrastructure, agriculture, and agribusiness, and digital India. These are the main 7 thrust areas. Now, having said that, I would request the Honorable Minister that as our Prime Minister announced Swachh Bharat, our Honorable Minister must announce a Swasthya Bharat. That means a healthy India, because the right to health is for each and every citizen of India.
The growth of pharmaceuticals is a very successful growth in India, to the extent that India is called the pharmacy of the world. India is also called silent champion of the global healthcare. It is called silent champion of the global healthcare because we take care of the medicinal needs of almost the entire globe. We are exporting to more than 220 countries. We have taken care of the vaccine requirement of the entire world. Almost 65% of the vaccines used in the world are produced in a dozen vaccine producing units in India. We have taken care of the HIV requirements of the entire world, especially Africa. In Africa, people were dying because cost of HIV drugs were very high. Nobody can bear. Even in India, people cannot bear. But our Indian generics took care of that. They continue to take care of that. Not only that, we take care of the budgets of all governments, even American government, European governments, and reduce their health budget because of our generic drugs. More than 25% of the generic drugs used in the world are from India. That is why India is called as a silent champion of the global healthcare.
The mission of Pharma Med 2015 was to bring together experts and leaders in the healthcare field from India to discuss cost-effective solutions and growth of quality healthcare.
आज यहाँ पर हम सम्मानीय जो वाणिज्य और उद्योग क्षेत्र में काम करने वाली संस्था जो है पीएचडी चैम्बर द्वारा आयोजित किए हुए फार्मा मेड 2015 के इस विश्व स्तरीय चिंतन के लिए आप उपस्थित हुए हैं। एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण इस कार्यक्रम में हम लोग शायद हम देश के इस इंडस्ट्री को और बढ़ावा देने के दृष्टिकोण से आप काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे मिनिस्ट्री का भी कर्तव्य है कि इंडस्ट्री को डिस्टर्ब ना करें, सहयोग करें और देश की लोकतंत्र प्रणाली जो है इसमें हम भारत देश के सभी क्षेत्र को बढ़ावा देने के लिए ही देश में चुनाव होते हैं। चुनाव प्रक्रिया के बाद में मिनिस्ट्री बनती है और देश को आगे ले जाने की जिम्मेदारी सरकार की भी है, आम आदमी की भी है, आप लोगों की भी है।
Now the moment we've been all waiting for to hear our chief guest, Shri Anand Kumar ji, Honorable Union Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Sir.
I was listening to the presentation as well as the speeches with rapt attention. We need to trace the history. Earlier in 60s, pharma was part of Defense Ministry. From Defense Ministry, it graduated into Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry. From Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry, it has traveled to Chemicals and Petrochemicals Ministry. And for the first time, it has become the pharma department. That means from larva to pupa, it has to become the butterfly. I assure you that in our tenure only, it is going to become a separate ministry. It will fly as a butterfly.
The major issues we have today is on the policy side, issues on price control, I think regulatory issues and fiscal incentives. So if we go on the policy initiatives, I think we are eagerly waiting for the National Medical Device Policy 2015, the draft which was circulated with everyone, the industry and everybody, everybody at large. All the stakeholders were consulted for this. But now we are waiting for the final implementation of this policy. There were certain suggestions given by all the industry bodies and by all the stakeholders, and we request Department of Pharma to really take that initiative and put this policy in place, so that the medical device industry can get a direction, that which direction the holding hand, which kind of support it will get from the ministry and from the government to reach a goal of self-sufficiency in India, and also to become a leading export player in the global world.
The event hosted experts from healthcare industry, medical tourism, medical experts, hospitals, pharma companies, manufacturers, suppliers and service providers all under one roof to discuss the way forward for the healthcare industry. Here is what the organizers had to say.
The objective of the conference was to actually bring the pharma and medical devices industry together along with the regulators and the government. We had the good fortune of getting the honorable ministers over here, and they could discuss openly as to what the government is planning and how do they plan to take it forward. There were very important policy announcements made for the industry, and we're really glad that the government is actually taking up the issues of the industry and looking at resolving them as soon as possible within the broad framework of the Constitution and the law. Thank you very much.
I think what I can tell you is one of the most successful medical conference we had in the country. In no conference we had, minister, state minister, secretaries and from different departments coming together and sharing their viewpoints. And they were patiently listening at the industry issues. They also provided on-the-spot solutions. And I think with such kind of conferences, my view is that industry is bound to succeed, and innovation will be always rewarded. There were many ideas shared on innovation. So Make in India program, which we are all talking about, can be successful with good joint participation from industry as well as the government. And I think this was an ideal platform for industry and the government to be together, sharing the views. And I think going forward, the dream of making in India, especially on medical device side, I think is not that far away. Thank you so much.
I think it was a very good event, and I think there were a few policy decisions came out which are very, very important. One, the minister announced that he would be implementing the Katosh Committee recommendations for APIs within 100 days. He also announced that the same way in this particular government, they have made a Department of Pharmaceuticals. They should also be making a ministry. They should also be making a ministry for pharmaceutical and medical devices within 1 year. He also announced that he would be taking inverted duty structures up in a major way, and many other supports as such for the industry. I think what was also very good was in Make in India, we discussed many of the specific issues that industry is facing vis-a-vis underutilization capacity in pharmaceuticals and the rise of the medical devices industry. And in the innovation in India, we had a very good discussion about how we can take forward now a collaborative approach between industry, innovation, industry, regulator and academia for taking Indian pharmaceutical devices industry to the next level. So I would summarize it in that manner.
Here's what the delegates had to say.
Yeah, I think there's a good job by the chairman of PhD and the panel, the medical panel heads, Mr. Baid and Mr. Burlia, who are trying to see how medical industry and the pharma industry gets boosted into export and in the domestic market. And I think this is a good initiative. I congratulate them.
PhD Chamber, in association with the Department of Pharmaceuticals, has organized this event, and these events bring together various stakeholders, the industry, the research, the academics, the government departments, and in a very free and open atmosphere, the issues are discussed. Sometimes some good ideas come up, some solutions come up, and the recommendations, once they are compiled, then whoever is responsible, they can start the implementation. It also provides an opportunity to know what is going on in various sectors, and one can also meet various captains of the industry and people who've done great work in the field. So overall, it's a very informative and great learning experience for whoever participates in these events.
Here is what the visitors had to say.
This 4th annual conference by Pharma Med in 2015 was an excellent conference in which I learned about the industries of the pharmaceuticals and medical devices. I met some of the big persons in this field, and I am very happy to attend this conference. Thank you very much.
Actually, this event is about making the drugs and the devices available in India at a much economically priced. And this is the right platform where all the dignitaries are sit together, and they are planning how to reduce the cost of the drug and how to reduce the production cost of the medical devices.
This event was a great step towards a new era of development with a positive mind.